Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for Below Grade Level. Buckle up and get ready for the time of your life.
Hello and welcome to Below Grade Level, the show where we take the books that we read as kids and read them as adults and ruin them. I'm one of your hosts, Jonathan Eaton. With me as always is Bekah Eaton.
Hello.
And Chris Zaleski.
Hello.
How are you guys doing this rainy evening?
Good.
Good.
I'm pretty darn good.
Excellent. Good. I'm so glad. Guys, guess what?
What?
We have a special guest today. The first episode of a brand new book, returning champion, Huey Hesson. Hi, Huey.
Hello! Oh my
You're
gosh,
shitting
it's great to be back.
It's so great to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well today. I recently assembled a new poo palace for my cat.
Excellent.
Other than that, I'm not dead.
That's good.
You know, it's August 2024. We're like 100 days away from an election in the U.S., and that's all anyone can really ask for at this point.
Truthfully, yes.
It's
been 2024 for about 10 years now.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Hey, Huey.
Yes.
What do you want to read today?
So, when I was a child, young and impressionable, I found a book.
7 feet of you.
Yeah, exactly. I found a book called "Through the Eyes of King Midas." Kid Midas. And
doing the same thing.
We're gonna do it a billion more times.
A billion times, yeah.
Nobody says Kid Midas. It's a terrible thing. But I found this book, and it had a kid, I believe, on the cover, wearing a super 80s windbreaker, and what I thought at the time were the coolest sunglasses imaginable.
And so I bought it. I have to look it up right now.
Oh yeah, you gotta look it up.
And I think they changed the because that doesn't look like the cover I saw on Amazon, where I bought the Kindle version of this book.
Did they try to modernize Through the Eyes of Kid Midas?
It was like a close-up profile of him. I didn't see his cool jacket.
Was this the one you saw, Jonathan?
That's what I saw.
He's wearing like kind of Matrixy looking sunglasses.
Yeah. Oh no,
which look really stupid. But I saw the one you're talking about, and it's incredible.
I wouldn't have bought that book. Let me tell you.
Whoa!
It's so awesome. Like
that is like the fucking most 90s windbreaker I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my god!
I think I had that windbreaker.
Chris, can you describe this cover if you're looking at it also?
All right, so you have what Huey just said, the most 90s kid in the world, wearing what looks like Bret Hart glasses from wrestling, which will make John Nagel happy, and wearing a, I want to say, turquoisey,
pink.
Maybe like
purple, turquoise and purple.
Yeah, turquoise and like light, like Prince purple.
You're kind of standard 90s radical colors.
Turquoise vest, but like the sleeves are purple.
Yeah.
Like those cups that you got with like this jagged line on them back in the day.
Just holding
like the
his
triangles
hands in front
and
of him
Yeah.
as reality warps around him and lightning's in the background, and it looks amazing.
Right?
And the bottom of the K in Kid Midas turns into a lightning bolt. This is amazing.
So, okay, so you bought it because of the cover, you said?
That was initially, I was just at a Walden Books, and
R.I.P.
And yeah, this book was in like the young adult section, and I was like, this looks really cool. I like something. Not only did his fashion jump out to me, but the way he's looking at his hands, like I have the power, kind of. Really, I was like, I gotta read this book. I was kind of into fantasy and sci-fi, and this looked like some sort of bizarre, modern day kind of weird fiction. So
I
was
forgot
on
to say
board.
the tagline on the cover. It says, "Ultimate power has its costs."
Yeah.
I did not know what I was in for.
Shusterman.
I mean, you'd think, based on the name of the book, that he turns things into gold by touching them.
That's what I thought.
But we'll find out. Very surely, it has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I read a quick synopsis of this book, and I'm so excited to read it. Okay, what age group would you say that this is for?
Oh man, I don't want to put forth an estimate because it's been so long since I've read this book.
Okay.
But it definitely was, it brought up stuff that seemed terrifying to me as a child. There's like this conceptual thing that happens in this book that I was like, that's genuinely kind of like nightmarish.
I can't. I cannot wait. Okay. Because it did just like the, I don't know, the cover and the title. I was like, oh, this looks like it's one of the, like a Goosebumps level, like aimed at like probably 11-year-olds. But then like the synopsis, I was like, that seems too dark for an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
So okay, let's just jump right into it. I'm very excited. Okay, so it is by Neal, spelled Neal, by the way. I'm not a fan of that. Neal Shusterman.
And coincidentally,
Shusterman.
it's produced by Simon and Schuster, but not in any way related to Shusterman.
So Neal Shusterman, no relation to Simon and Schuster.
Schuster.
Oh yeah, well Schuster has a C in it. Anyway, yeah, I've never heard of this book before. I never even heard of this author before. So,
according to Amazon, it says reading age 12 years and up.
Excellent.
So I was just trying to find an answer to that, and this was published in 1994.
1994. Dude, thank God. Okay,
what a forward.
Yeah, and that was what I was just about to say. The forward for this book is for Jared, in whose eyes I can see infinity.
That's the dedication, not the forward, guys. Come
you're
on.
right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What is this Bush League?
There is a acknowledgments. We don't need to read that. Let's just.
Is it interesting? Sometimes they're interesting.
It kind of looked interesting.
Who wants to read the acknowledgments?
Who?
One of you guys, because I'm not looking at it.
Chris, do it.
I'll read it. Acknowledgements.
Emailing it.
The Eyes of King Midas has evolved over a period of 10 years from a campfire tale to this novelle, and there are many people who have had a hand in shaping it. A very special thanks to all the kids who have heard the many incarnations of the story: Jeff, Jonas, Jason, Seth, and everyone at Camp Anawana, Tracy and all the kids at the farm school, everyone at Phoenix Recreation, Vicky Croxry, and her students at Vista Verde School. Thanks to Steph, who had faith that I would eventually get it right, Lloyd, who'd midwifed Kid Midas's prolonged labor, Lynette, parenthetical, CJ, without whom it could never have been finished, and Elaine, without whose constant love and support Kevin Midas would never have crossed the threshold from dream to reality. With people like these, who needs magic glasses?
Lynette is an insane name.
That is nuts. For people,
it feels mean and pointed to put in Clinette and CJ. Like, you know, she doesn't want to be called Clinette.
No,
what do you think they called her in school?
Clinette.
What do you think they called her?
I think they called her Clinette.
I think they also called her Clinette.
And then she said, "Please fucking call me CJ."
And then Neal was just like, I'm going to let them know exactly what your goddamn name is, Clinette.
Because she went on to become a clinician.
Oh, God. Okay. Chapter 1, which is titled Four Eyes Midas Eats a Pine Cone.
I love that every chapter has a title, which they don't always do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. His name is Kevin Midas. Okay. When Kevin Midas first saw the mountain, it was in perfect focus because his glasses were not yet broken. The peak stood alone, like a single stone tooth that had been thrust up from deep within the earth somewhere near the beginning of time. Poetry. It wasn't part of a larger range. It didn't fit in with the rolling hills around it. It was just simply there, defying all attempts to explain it. The vans approached from the west, giving all the kids on the camping trip the most dramatic view the mountain offered. Its western face was a sheer wall of stone that towered hundreds of feet into the air. The eastern side was a much smoother slope covered with pines, the same pines that blanketed the foothills around them. It was only half a mountain, really, as if someone had sliced it down the middle, leaving a granite cliff to face forever west.
Which is it, Neal?
Wow, was all Kevin could say when he saw it. Even Josh looked up to stare at it. Josh, who is Kevin's most consistent friend, Jesus, sat next to him for the entire 3-hour trip, playing an endless supply of pocket video games. The sight of the mountain was the only thing that could take Josh away from his games. There it is, said Mr. Kirkpatrick, the teacher driving the van. The Divine Watch!
The what?
The Divine Watch.
I heard you. It didn't make any sense.
What's our read order? I'm sorry.
Me, Bekah, Chris, you.
Okay, got it.
You act like you've never done this before, Huey.
I'm just
Jesus.
I'm out of practice, man. I'm sorry.
Also, rearrange the Zoom pictures into the read order.
You can do that?
Yeah. We live in the future, man. The future of Kid Midas.
They pulled into a picture spot with the other 3 vans, and everyone got out to admire the magnificent peak before them. From photos, Kevin knew that the Divine Watch came to a sharp peak, but right now the top of the mountain shrouded in clouds. Even so, it was more impressive than pictures could ever show. No wonder the Indians had built legends around it. Most of the 20 kids on the camping trip had cameras, which now began to snap away like crazy. Bertram Tarson,
I'm sorry.
who thankfully had not been in the same van with Kevin and Josh, watched the photo frenzy and rolled those golf ball eyes of his.
Oh. Bertram, you monster.
For God's sake, it's only a stupid mountain, grumbled Bertram from behind a huge wad of bubble gum that Kevin could smell 20 feet away. Kevin couldn't say he hated Bertram Tarson because hate was too mild a word for what Kevin felt.
Damn.
Bertram was more than a mere bully. He was a constant reminder that Kevin's life was out of his control. Jesus.
What?
At home, Kevin's parents controlled every waking moment, and in school, control fell into the hands of the tough kids like Bertram. Bertram?
Or the teachers?
Yeah.
Also, yeah, okay, also, Bertram's a bully?
Yeah, how was Bertram the bully? I thought he was going to be the nerd.
Yeah.
Who, only 3 weeks into the 7th grade, had already resumed the endless pecking that kept Kevin angry and humiliated most of the time.
It kind of makes sense, though, because, like, it's like prison
This is
rules.
too bright now.
Like, if you, if your name is Bertram and you start going to school, you're like, I gotta be a piece of shit. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta be, like, the biggest fucking bully in the world so that no one will pick on me for having
You
the
just
name
got
Bertram.
beat by Bert Tram.
You just got a Bertram beat down.
Bertram beat down.
That's what they call it.
Okay. Kevin wondered why nature pulled the cruel trick of making all the really obnoxious kids grow so much faster than the others. That's not true. Huey's super nice and he's 7 feet tall. So much faster than him. As the shortest kid in the grade with the thickest glasses, control of his own destiny seemed about as far from Kevin as a slam dunk on the basketball court. Bertram was proof of that. "Don't look now," whispered Josh, but Bertram's staring at you. Josh, who was black, had no love for kids like Bertram,
Oh no. Oh no.
who saw everyone else in the world as potential targets for hatred.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no.
The fact that Bertram was glaring at Kevin was not a good sign. Everyone knew that Bertram needed a daily fix of cruelty, and he would often stare at his prey in advance, concocting
What?
some scheme.
I mean, Bertram
Teachers were
sounds
helpless.
What has happened to me?
Like
Why did that happen?
Bertram sounds like a plantation owner.
Classic
Dead
Bertram.
silence.
I don't remember any underlying racial tension from this book. But,
Oh boy. I'm just excited
you were a
about
child.
that's true.
I'm just excited about the amount of times we're gonna all have to say the name Bertram out loud.
Like now.
Yeah.
Bertram kept his eyes focused on Kevin for the longest time as he chomped up and down on his big league chew with teeth so crooked they would make a horse cry.
What flavor though?
Probably standard.
So crooked they would make a horse cry.
Yep, not average.
Oh,
but
I
sounds
didn't
I
even
love
hear
that.
that.
I actually love that.
Bertram had worn braces for as long as Kevin could remember, but he suspected the braces would lose the battle.
Damn, they're not supposed to.
"Where are you looking at, shrimpoid?" Bertram finally said to Kevin. Then he reached into his mouth and pulled out a gum wad the size of his fist, depositing it into the waiting hand of Hal Hornbeck, a
Ew.
hulking kid who was Bertram's second in command.
And gum holder?
Hal was every bit as mean as Bertram, only less intelligent, which really didn't mean much. It was like calling a potato less intelligent than an onion.
Jesus.
Bertram strolled back into his van, and Hal...
Kevin sounds pretty fucking mean to me. Kevin's a bitch.
Bertram strolled back into his van, and Hal, who had been taking scowling lessons from Bertram, scowled at Kevin as he rolled Bertram's gum into a ball. He flung the ball at Kevin, but the gum missed the mark entirely, lodging itself in Mr. Kirkpatrick's hair. The gum clung to the hair almost as well as it clung to Bertram's dental work. Mr. Kirkpatrick turned to see Hal Hornbeck lumber into the van. Kirkpatrick just sighed. "Hello. All right, everyone," he said. "Back in the vans. The Divine Watch awaits. I hate
The Divine
these
Watch
fucking
sounds like
kids."
something from Destiny.
Yeah, it does.
Awaits what? Wondered Kevin. Because, through Kevin Midas's glasses, the lonely mountain cloaked in morning mist did seem to be waiting. Sometime later...
Oh my god.
The mountain loomed closer and closer in the windshield until all that could be seen was the immense rock wall. When the van door rolled open, Kevin was the first one out. The curtain of clouds had lifted to reveal the peak, a sharp point piercing the sky, as peaks do. Kevin, who at 13 was rarely impressed by anything, was so overwhelmed he had to lean back against the van for balance.
Bertram was also the first one out of his van, but for reasons other than sightseeing. Kevin's crystal-clear image of the mountain suddenly became a shadowy blur as Bertram ripped the glasses from Kevin's face. "The ball is in play!" shouted Bertram, who, after 3 hours of being cooped up in a van, needed a victim. Jesus. No doubt he had been looking forward to this for hours. With his blasting boombox in one hand, Kevin's glasses in the other.
What song? It's 94. What song is it?
Oh, God.
94?
Pump the jam.
Pump the jam.
Yeah.
Pump it. Beat is pumping.
Oh, my God.
Oh my god.
Bertram ran to the edge of the trees with Hal, and they stood there gloating and leering, waiting for Kevin to chase them. Don't do it, Kevin, said Josh, who had seen the whole thing. If you stop chasing them, they'll stop doing it. Sound advice, but the urge to go after them was so strong, Kevin didn't know if he could resist. He turned to see the teachers too busy with the head count to notice Kevin's plight. Apparently, Ian Axelrod was nowhere to be found. Ralphie Sherman swore he had succumbed to spontaneous human combustion somewhere along the interstate. But then, Ralphie said that whenever someone couldn't be found.
That's a great book. I would have eaten this shit up.
My fucking brain is reeling. Ian Axelrod. These are the craziest names.
Ian
Holy
Axelrod,
shit.
followed by Ralphie Sherman.
Ralphie Sherman.
Sounds like Gene Shepard should be narrating this. Ian Axelrod was nowhere to be found. Ralphie Sherman swore. I did not say fudge.
I don't know. Oh, is that the Christmas story?
Yeah.
Oh.
Those in the know who Gene Shepard is, John. You're just not as hip.
I'm in the
cool
know. I just didn't know his name.
as people that know the dude that hosted a radio
Yeah.
show.
Super cool, man.
Yeah, clearly you never fell asleep to pirated versions of his radio show when you were in your 20s.
Pirated?
Yeah, it wasn't readily available.
Okay.
We had to go to great lengths back in the day.
Becky, you missed the name Ian Axelrod.
Oh, boy. Everyone has a cooler name than Kevin.
His name's Kevin Midas, though.
That's true.
But it should be like Mortimer
strong back.
Midas or something.
Mortimer
like everyone
Midas.
else sounds like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Ralphie Sherman. Kevin Midas just
Yeah.
it feels like a missed opportunity.
The fact that it's
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw a tweet, I guess. I hate that it's not Twitter anymore and that they're not tweets. Although
It doesn't matter. We all call them
them tweets. It was something like that. It was a woman saying that she was in France talking to like a hot, sexy French guy, and when she asked him his name, he said, like, "You'll be really disappointed in my name." His name was Kevin. She's like, "I really was."
Kevin.
Can you imagine meeting like a hot, sexy
So
French
sad.
man, and then he's like,
Oh my God, lie! It's not Kevin. It's Pierre. Just lie.
It's Jean."
Astute listeners will remember that I was almost named Kevin.
As
Fans
your
of the
friend, I
podcast.
don't remember that, and I think you told me that like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. Bad friend. Bad friend.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is she a bad friend or is it a bad name? It's very forgettable.
Well, it's a bad name. Luckily, I wasn't named it.
It's so forgettable that we forgot.
What?
You don't have to write down Ian Axelrod.
Oh,
He's
I'm
nobody's
not.
surprise.
It just, I feel like Bertram stealing the glasses is going to lead to
Yes.
the Midas glasses. I don't know.
Is he? Are they like? Okay, sorry. I'm
All right.
just please go on.
Bertram leered at Kevin with those awful, bulging eyes as he spun the glasses on his index finger.
Does he look like Steve Buscemi?
Or like, who was that actor that was in Young Frankenstein?
Oh shit,
Marty Feldman.
Marty Feldman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marty
Damn your
Feldman,
eyes,
but as
too
a
late.
bully.
Yeah, like a giant bully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Bertram's
scary.
like a zit. Oh, sorry.
That's a
Bertram's
scary
like a
image.
zit. God damn it.
You guys got to get your comedy in order.
All right. Bertram's like a zit, said Josh. Ignore it and it will eventually go away. But Kevin simply couldn't do that. The ball was in play, and it seemed Kevin Midas was eternally condemned to play other kids' ball games.
Gross.
This is a weird
That seemed a
metaphor.
strange way to put that. Already fuming mad, Kevin raced towards Bertram, and Bertram took off with Hal through the trees, leaving a trail of heavy metal for Kevin to follow. Oh, it was metal. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
From the
I
boombox.
The music.
I thought he was leaving a trail of heavy metal, like
Just tungsten,
just
you know?
strap- Straps.
steel. Yeah.
Just dropping shrapnel.
It's like, wow, this is dangerous. It's Welcome to the Jungle.
Kevin burst into a clearing filled with dead grass surrounding an evil-looking outhouse. Hal came
What?
from behind.
Okay.
This is such a strange book. Oh, man. Hal came from behind and put Kevin into the infamous Hornbeck extremely full Nelson, which was just like a normal full Nelson, only
Extremely
more
full.
so.
More Nelson than that.
It was extra Nelson.
More than full.
It's already a full Nelson. Kevin kicked and struggled against Hal, and the sport turned from a ball game to a rodeo. Sorry, I am trying to figure out how to say this because it is written phonetically. Okay. Oh, okay.
You just gotta go for it.
Just look at that dog go, said Hal, putting on a fake Texas accent, which is now his voice permanently in this book. How fast do you think we can rope this doggy, Bertram? Kevin had a
The
fleeting
name
image.
makes sense in that accent.
It does. It really
Bertram.
does. It really flows off the tongue. We got Bertram. Kevin had a fleeting image of himself with his arms and legs looped together like a calf in a rodeo and being left there for the rest of the day. Hal took the edge off the Nelson just enough for Kevin to see Bertram.
It's a 3/4 Nelson.
Just a 3/4 Nelson.
Well, no, now it's back
No,
to a regular full.
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, now it's just a regular full Nelson.
Oh yeah, that's a lot funnier than what I said.
The look Bekah gave me.
One metric full Nelson.
Hal took the edge off the Nelson. Off the Nelson. What? Who? This is.
Wow.
I am dying. Just enough for Kevin to see Bertram standing 10 feet away. A steady beat pounded from Bertram's tape player, which now rested on the ground as Bertram dangled Kevin's glasses from his fingers. The game was no longer a rodeo, but a bullfight. Jesus Christ.
Oh my god, how many different games is it gonna
What
be?
do you-
We are losing the fucking metaphor.
Chris, what voice were you doing for Bertram?
Well, he has braces, so he has a little bit of a lisp.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Come on, Midas. Come and get your glasses,
said Bertram. Toro! Toro! He's leaning into the bullfight thing.
I guess it's not a metaphor.
He cackled with laughter. Kevin, barely able to breathe, could only grunt and snort like a bull. Josh, that's in the book. Josh lurched into the clearing and, as was often the case, immediately took up Kevin's cause. His parents were lawyers, and so Josh had a way of talking sense.
So he's gonna argue them out of it? Josh.
His parents were lawyers, and so Josh had a way of talking sense and logic into onions and potatoes. Which, if you remember, if you're keeping track of the metaphors, yes. You realize, Bertram, said Josh, that you're already in enough trouble for the gum in Kirkpatrick's hair. If I were you, I'd lay low for a while. Kevin could almost hear the advice go in one ear, echo a bit, then come out the other.
How through it?
Said Bertram. It was your gum, said... Oh, wait, no, sorry. It was your gum, said Josh. Bertram shrugged it off and returned his attention to the bullfight. Then, Bertram's music, which had been blaring all the years Kevin knew him, suddenly stopped dead. So he has a soundtrack?
Yeah, he just takes it to class.
Yeah.
Ditches and birds.
Yeah. That's like a few years off, but you know he'd be into it. Kevin could hear the rush of a distant waterfall and birds singing high up in the pine trees. Sounds of nature that must have infuriated Bertram.
I hate nature!
He gets confused by birds. Said Bertram, turning around. Josh
Why aren't their feet on the ground?
Josh ejected the tape and backed away with it. Kevin's eyes went wide.
No one who valued his life turned off Bertram's music. Bertram gritted his thoroughbred teeth.
Horse joke.
And growled like a hungry pit bull.
Oh, God.
Well, now he's switching animals. Come on.
He's like a pit bull with horse teeth.
He's
You
like
had-
that
That's
Animorph
terrifying.
that's like the middle of
It
the
is.
transformation.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You
I'm
had
picturing
best.
a pit bull with horse teeth. That is so weird. Sorry.
It's okay.
The horse bull.
A horse bull. It's a pit horse. You had best give me back that tape. Josh continued to back away with the hostage cassette, heading towards the outhouse. The small green outhouse was the size of a phone booth, and it had one of those odors you remember for the rest of your life. You know those odors that we all have remembered since we were 12. Josh swung open the door, and an unholy strangling stench flowed out like invisible fingers of death.
Good God.
Bertram started toward him, but Josh held the tape out over the open hole of the grungy toilet. Take one more step and down it goes. Kevin, still in the crushing grip of the extremely full Nelson, watched as Josh Wilson rendered Bertram Tarson speechless. I hate in these books when they randomly throw the last names back in. Like, just do it or don't.
And they're so alliterative.
Well, yeah. And everything's like Nelson, Wilson, Tarson. Bertram. Come on, Josh. A joke's a joke, pleaded Bertram. You wouldn't do that, would you? Josh smiled. Make you a deal. I'll give you back your music if you let Kevin go and give him back his glasses. Bertram didn't answer right away. The offer is good for 5 seconds, said Josh. Bertram turned to Hal and nodded. Hal threw Kevin to the ground, and Kevin gasped a deep breath. Good, said Josh. Now the glasses. The tape first. You have 3 seconds, said Josh. Powerless to bargain. Bertram tossed the glasses to Kevin. Josh then tossed Bertram the tape, keeping his part of the deal, which under the circumstances was not the safest thing to do. Josh, look out, yelled Kevin, but it was too late. Bertram grabbed Josh by the neck and smashed his back against the wall of the outhouse with a thud, pinning him there. You touched my tunes, screamed Bertram, his face turning red. Nobody touches my tunes. This is insane.
This is so awesome.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
The way that you said Nelson Wilson Tarson sounds to me like some sort of like redneck, like on Dasher, on Dancer.
Nelson Wilson.
Like a redneck who's like building something outside and he slams like the hammer into his thumb and he goes, Nelson Wilson Tarson!
Oh,
Oh
man.
my god. Hal held open the outhouse door, and in one instant the plan had become painfully clear. Oh no, I'm glad I'm not reading how gross this is gonna be.
Bertram and Hal began to pull Josh head first toward the outhouse. Listen, reasoned Josh, you really don't want to do this. Think of your conscience. I ain't got
Your
one,
conscience?
said Bertram. That's when
How will
Kevin's...
you live with yourself?
That's when Kevin threw the pine cone. It whizzed through the air and bounced off the back of Bertram's head. Bertram slowly turned to Kevin, who stood across the clearing with the determination of a gunslinger. Kevin had taken enough. He could sense something igniting inside himself, something that was about to explode. Oh my God, said Josh, realizing that Kevin meant business. Bertram offered up a sinister smile at Kevin's foolhardy attempt at bravery. You threw a pine cone at me, Midas? Kevin, unflinching, pushed the glasses farther up on his face, and two words growled themselves out from the back of his throat. Your mother. Bertram's smile faded.
Oh shit.
The only thing more sacred than Bertram's music was his mother. He dropped Josh, forgetting him completely, and stared at Kevin, fists clenched. His face was popping blood vessels, and his whole body quivered in fury. My mother what? Kevin clenched his own fists and readied himself for the fight. He stared straight at Bertram from across the clearing and shot his words from the hip.
What?
Your mother's a pine cone.
Oh my god.
100 yards away at the campsite, Miss Argus, the math teacher, was lovingly snipping gum out of Mr. Kirkpatrick's hair.
Lovingly.
So
Do they have a
involved,
thing?
She is a thing, clearly.
so involved were they in their minor surgical procedure that neither they nor the other teachers observing the operation noticed when Ian Axelrod, finally turning up, came bounding from the woods and announced, "Hey everyone, Bertram's fighting Kevin Midas."
Holy shit.
This book's awesome.
This
It's
is
amazing.
fucking good.
Your mother's a pine cone.
Your mother's a pine cone. Is it the... Oh, man.
In a matter of seconds, all 20 kids had vanished from the campsite, racing through the woods to see the fight of the century. Sometime later. Meanwhile, Kevin and Bertram rolled in the dirt, both delivering punch after punch.
Damn.
In seconds, they were surrounded by a cheering mass of kids who were thrilled that somebody, anybody, was going to get beaten up. Josh tried to break it up, but Hal put him in an extremely full Nelson.
Yeah, saw that one coming.
Kevin had exploded all right. He was a fireball of fury, finding more strength in himself than he had ever known he had. At last, he had discovered the courage to stand up to Bertram. At last, after all these years, Bertram would get what he deserved. Humiliation at the hands of Kevin Midas. But as it sometimes goes, Kevin's fury just wasn't enough. Bertram was simply bigger and stronger. And all the righteous rage in the world wasn't going to change that. In the end, Bertram pinned Kevin down by the neck with one hand and brandished the pine cone in the other, holding it above Kevin's mouth. "Open wide, Midas," said Bertram. Go to hell.
Hold on. Reread that Bertram
Oh,
line.
my ass, you're right. Open wide, my ass, said Bertram. There should be a hyphen there.
It's italicized.
Go to hell, Bertram, yelled Kevin defiantly, and with that, Bertram rammed the entire pine cone into Kevin's mouth until Kevin's
sounds
cheeks
really
bulged like a chipmunk's.
painful.
Yeah.
That would hurt.
You're not supposed to eat
That
pine
sound,
cones.
I mean, truthfully.
With the eating, just the
Just the
shoving.
shoving? Yeah.
Ugh. Bertram got off Kevin and stepped back to admire his handiwork.
Did he?
I was gonna say
Ooh.
something, and then it was too late. I
He
couldn't think
learned
of
something
anything.
about himself that day.
Kevin was like...
I didn't know it was so
Bertram-
into pine cones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guys I'm just.
Or getting things shoved down my throat.
That makes more
That-
sense.
Then everyone but Josh began to laugh at Kevin. Even Nicole Patterson, the girl whom Kevin had a not-so-secret crush on. The humiliation hurt worse than his black eye and swelling mouth. Hey, said some clown. Kevin's eating a high-fiber diet. More laughter.
Okay, I'm sorry, but just like, hey, said some clown. Excuse me, Neal Shusterman, you have meticulously named almost all of these children. It could have been Ian
Meticulously,
Axelrod.
but now we have a... Where was it?
Wait,
Maybe his name is like Some Clone
Oh, man. Clown.
No, that's too far.
or Clawan.
Clowane.
No, I messed up. But now there's another ON name.
what?
Like the other names.
Patterson.
Nelson.
Oh.
I already forgot all the
Oh.
other ones. Never
Yeah.
mind. Cut that out.
Kevin reached into his mouth and carefully dislodged the pine cone. The crowd started to thin, but Bertram still stood there like a proud hunter over his kill. Just beside Bertram were Kevin's glasses, which had fallen during the fight.
Without taking his eyes off Kevin, Bertram lifted his foot and very slowly brought his dirty Reebok down on the glasses, grinding them into the dusty ground with all of his weight until the glasses snapped. "Oops," said Bertram. He lifted his foot from the broken glasses, grabbed his tape player, and left the clearing, his victory now complete. 3 weeks into the new school year, and his glasses were already destroyed. "He's gonna pay for this," mumbled Kevin, fighting back tears. "He's gonna pay." Josh just shook his head as he helped Kevin up. "Somebody's got to do something about him," said Josh. "The psycho's totally out of control." As they left, Kevin turned to look up at the mountain, which was nothing but a big blur now. "He's gonna pay," Kevin would always say when Bertram laid into him, but lately Kevin wasn't sure that Bertram would ever pay for anything. He wondered if the world was really a place where all the Bertrams and Hals were somehow brought to justice, or if it was like the mountain, which merely watched in silence as Kevin was beaten to a pulp. Damn!
Okay. Oh my god, what a way to end a chapter.
Jesus.
Kind of
This
blown
book
away,
is
guys.
awesome.
It really is.
Kind of blown away. What a great recommendation, Huey.
Yep.
I'm glad it is as amazing as I remember.
Chapter 2.
Something like this sticks with you for your whole life, man.
Like the smell of an outhouse.
Yes. Chapter 2, The Divine Watch, which I already thought we had left. Kevin didn't think of climbing the mountain until
haven't
much
even
later
gotten
that
there
night.
yet.
Oh, I guess they're going to climb it. I forgot they were camping.
Yeah.
The idea first occurred to him sometime around twilight, but he pushed it away. There were more pressing things to think about. Like, how was he going to face the world looking the way he did? I guess beaten up.
Oh, okay.
It was sunset now, and the white cliff of the mountain had taken on a bright red face, bathing the campsite in unearthly shades of scarlet and vermilion. Most of the other kids were clustered around the campfire, making s'mores, but Kevin wasn't about to leave his tent. His small travel mirror showed him an eye as bruised as they come, and lips puffy and swollen from the painful kiss of the pine cone.
Poetry.
He barely recognized himself. Bertram had, of course, received a reprimand from Kirkpatrick and was put on warning. The same warning he had lived under his entire life. He had no problems facing the world with a reprimand. But for Kevin to go out now, with the evidence of Bertram's victory all over his face, that he couldn't do. So I fucking love the way this is written. So instead, he just stayed inside, peering out of the slit of his open tent like a hermit.
Jesus
So sad.
Christ.
It was Josh who dragged him out. "If you don't come out," said Josh, "it'll make Bertram look even better. It'll mean he beat you up so bad you were ashamed to show your face." Although that is
Also,
exactly
like-
what has happened.
Yeah.
Why would you just unleash a word like vermilion on a child? To
They've
this
got a-
day, I don't know what color it's supposed to be.
Green.
Green. Okay.
I think it's.
Is
Isn't it
Verde
red?
green?
No, it's green.
He was talking about other reds.
Oh, I hope I'm right.
That just
You're the art kid.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Verde's green, right?
Yeah, Verde is green.
Okay.
Vermilion's red, bitch.
Yeah, see? It makes no fucking sense. Vermilion's red. Like playing Pokemon as a child. It's like, oh, you're in Vermilion City. It's just like, I have no idea what color the city's supposed to be.
You would have if you read this book.
I was thinking of Viridian.
Ah, you dumb bastard.
Viridian is like a blue-green, as to quote Otho from Beetlejuice.
Oh,
Ooh.
is that a color they talk about?
You know, when he's like spray painting in the beginning of the movie, he goes, Viridian.
Oh, that's a pretty color.
Blue-green.
I like it.
All right.
Seen that movie 1,000,000 times. Go on.
Kevin had to accept the logic as much as he hated to. The sun was already beneath the horizon when Kevin shuffled over to the campfire. Now the mountain reflected a rich purple blanket across the campsite that clashed with the flickering orange flames of the fire. Oh, no fancy color words there, Neal?
I just want to say that I never edit this podcast, but I am legitimately considering editing out me being wrong about what Vermilion was.
If you edit that out, edit out me not remembering all the names I had just said. Make us all look better and smarter.
Tarson, Carson, Zarson, and Barson.
Tarson,
And Peterson.
Carson,
I remembered
Jarson,
them all.
and
It's easy.
Darvelson.
Kevin couldn't quite make out the faces, seeing as how he was blind as shit, but he imagined that they all stared at him as he sat down. He grabbed a marshmallow stick and poked it into the fire, sending sparks that flew into the air and faded quickly out of focus. Embarrassed to look up, Kevin just listened as Kirkpatrick rambled on in his earth science sort of way about the mountain. "The Divine Watch," he said. "Excuse me. Is a mountain of mystery.
He's been drinking beer.
Yeah.
A place with roots dating back thousands of years." Kirkpatrick turned to look at the dark peak, its shade of violet getting deeper and deeper.
Now we get a nice purple.
It was sacred to the Native Americans. They called it the Eye of God. Now Kevin began to pay attention. When he squinted, he could make out Kirkpatrick's face across the fire. He was leaning into the center of the circle, drawing everyone into the story. The Native Americans believed that the sun god peered off the top of the mountain each morning to drive back the forces of darkness and clear a path for the coming day. They feared that if he slept through dawn and didn't fight back the darkness, the sun would never rise again, and the world would be thrown into chaos. Kevin reached into his pocket and pulled out a badly scratched eyeglass lens. He peered through it at the mountain. Its face was completely black now, an absolute ebony against the sky filling with stars.
So he has a monocle now, basically.
One scratched monocle.
Kevin began to forget his swollen mouth and black eyes. He listened to Mr. Kirkpatrick weave the ancient legend. "There's a prophecy,"
Oh my god!
Prophecy?
said Mr. Kirkpatrick, "that goes something like this." The flames began to leap higher as he spoke.
Oh shit.
Holy shit,
there's
there's
a
a
poem?
fucking prophecy.
Harry. Original Dumbledore is better than Richard Gambon. Michael Gambon, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Disagree. Also, I thought you were doing Voldemort. Harry.
No,
They all kind of sound like that.
Yeah.
Lucius. Lucius.
Draco.
Lucius. Lucius.
In the
boy.
balance of dark and day, the endless battle, the lasting peace, our lives are born of the dying dream. In the balance of dark and day.
You just rhymed the same thing with the same thing.
What is he?
What does it mean? Someone asked.
I have no idea.
What's the guy's name that wrote American Pie? Don Johnson?
McLean.
McLean.
Don Johnson McLean.
Don Johnson McLean. Whenever we
In the
listen to
balance
American
of
Pie,
darkened day, the endless battle, the lasting peace. The lives are born of the dying dream.
I can't remember. He rhymes.
It fits perfectly.
There's a part in that song where he rhymes one word with the same word. It always bothers me. I'm like, this song's supposed to be good, man.
It's a great song.
He couldn't think of a better word. I can't remember which word it is.
Some kid finds some cool sunglasses, and in the end, he beats his bullies' asses.
What does it mean? Someone asked. It means, said Nicole Patterson, who always knew what everything meant, that if morning never came, we would sleep forever and never wake up. Something like that, said Mr. Kirkpatrick, raising his eyebrows. Bertram tossed a plastic fork into the fire. Come, Indians, said Bertram. What do they know? The plastic fork twisted in a slow, painful end in the flames.
Jesus. You're not supposed
I think they knew quite a lot, Bertram.
They all inhale the fumes.
Yeah. Bertram specifically leaned forward.
Kills a few more brain cells.
The rest of the book is just a plastic high. I think they knew quite a lot, Bertram, said Mr. Kirkpatrick, because that's not where the story ends. The last glow of twilight was gone from the sky now, and the fire played on Mr. Kirkpatrick's face. That and his crazy gum-shorn hair made him look like a shaman, an Indian medicine
Gum-shorn
man.
hair.
Gum-shorn hair.
So did they cut all his hair off?
It sounds
or
like
just
he
the
has
patch?
a bald patch.
It was a big-ass wad of big league chew.
It's true.
That's true.
It's probably
like a
the
whole
whole
pouch.
pack.
Yeah.
How would that make you look like a shaman?
You know how stupid shamans look.
There's another place, he said, 50 miles to the west, called the Devil's Punch Bowl.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Kirkpatrick.
It's a huge bowl a mile wide, carved into the stone like a crater of a meteor. And in the very center of the bowl is a tall spike of rock, hundreds of feet high. That spike is called the Devil's Chair. So, said Hal. Oh, no. So, what was he? Texan, right?
No, Hal. Oh, yeah, Hal was Texan.
So, said Mr. Kirkpatrick, about 100 years ago, 2 astronomers discovered something incredible. They discovered that the shadow, very tip of divine watch, rests on the Devil's Chair at dawn twice a year. When? Said Josh. I know, Kevin blurted out, in the balance of dark and day. That must be the spring and fall equinox. It's the only time when both the day and night are exactly 12 hours long.
Fucking nerd.
Nerd. Fucking.
No wonder he ate a pine cone.
Yeah.
Mr.
Also,
Kirkpatrick
like, this
gave a broad smile.
is a field trip I would want to go on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
right?
actually
Yeah.
sounds incredible.
Like, I'm just like, do they do this for adults?
I'd rather do that than go see the fucking Liberty Bell.
Or just like Washington, D.C. I love how all of these things all have crazy names, which is like very true to real life. Like,
Yes.
and that's called the Devil's Punch Bowl, and in it is the Devil's Chair.
Devil's Chair.
And over there is
Like-
the Devil's Pinky.
Everything but the Devil's Punch Bowl makes sense. Like, I know there's a place in Pennsylvania called Devil's Den, but
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
Devil's Den works more for me than Devil's Punch Bowl.
But Devil's Den is just rocks. It's just a bunch of rocks.
Yeah, but Punch Bowl?
Yeah.
Punch Bowl?
That's
It-
like
it does
plateau
seem-
there
Did
is
Native
known as
Americans
the
have
devil's
punch?
side table.
Well, the Native
And that they
Americans
served
didn't
in
call it the
bowls.
Devil's Punch
Cadenza.
Bowl. A bunch of dumb white people were like, looked like the Devil's Punch Bowl to me. So we'll call it for hundreds of years.
The
That's-
devil's
And it
devil's
looks like he
tray.
sat on this spike.
Yeah.
So we'll call that spike a chair. You know how we sit on spikes.
Well, the devil you want the devil to sit on a spike. It goes right up his devil's butt.
Then you
You don't want the devil to sit on a nice chair. If it was a nice chair, I'd call it a God's chair.
if it was nice,
Yeah.
he'd never leave.
That's
That's
right.
Get that devil out of here.
Gotta get the devil out of here. That's why you gotta shape the chair like a spike.
Oh, this thing is the eye
Poke
of
it right
God
in his
looking at
bottom.
the devil's
Send him to
chair.
hell.
Yeah.
Then you got the devil's lazy boy.
my God.
And we call that mountain God's Tooth or whatever.
Devil, we do furniture. God,
This
we
is
do
what we
body
did
parts.
before we had the television and internet.
You just name
Was
stuff down things.
we looked at stuff that we saw. We're like, that looks like the Hades trumpet.
That sounds so real.
Yeah, why not? What do those stars look like? A dog.
Gonna pet that dog.
Gonna pet that dog.
But then you look at like constellations, and it's like, no, it doesn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you insane? Yeah.
Oh, that one's clearly Zeus. It's 3 stars.
Like Big Dipper, I get, but like the rest of them, it's just like, how's that a hunter?
Yeah. Where are you getting a centaur archer from this? Okay. Anyway.
How is that like a goat fish? Like, that doesn't even exist here on Earth. Why did you make that constellation a goat fish? We don't even have one for reference here.
I went out to the Devil's Punch Bowl. I saw a goatfish. He was flopping around by the chair.
Oh, God, we must
This is
move
a
on.
weird book.
I love it so much.
It's an inspired book.
Man, I'm
I love
crying.
it. It's great. Mr. Kirkpatrick gave a broad shaman's a smile. Josh smiled back at him, calling his bluff. How convenient, said Josh, that tomorrow is September 21st. The
Ooh,
fall
my
equinox.
birthday.
Do you remember?
It's almost like this trip was planned.
I don't think September 21st is the fall equinox.
Come on, Mr. Kirkpatrick. The whole thing's a bunch of baloney, isn't it? Yeah, Bertram agreed, greatly relieved.
I knew it. I knew it all along.
Maybe, said Mr.
The
Kirkpatrick.
fall equinox is September 22nd.
Yeah, Josh is
September 21st is the last day of summer.
Well, his
I just
parents-
only know that because it's my birthday.
his parents are lawyers, not astrologers.
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 Not astronomers.
Not astrologers. Astrologers. Maybe, said Mr. Kirkpatrick. What am I, an astrologer? And maybe not. With that, he got up from the circle and poured a bucket of water on the flames.
Night's over.
Yeah. Go to
The
bed,
kids are
fuck
like,
you! Yeah. Pleasant dreams, he said as the steamy smoke rose to meet the heavens.
I have more
sleeping in the
stories to
cold
tell.
tonight.
I'm gonna go to my tent with that teacher who's chopping the gum out of my hair.
I had more stories to tell, but that's fine. That's fine. I only organized this whole fucking trip.
I don't like children who call me on my bullshit.
Try to do something nice. These ungrateful little bastards.
The moon peeked its full, round face from behind the defined watch, casting a pitch-black shadow of the mountain across the forest. There were more stars in the sky than Kevin had ever seen before. I thought he couldn't see.
He's holding up his little monocle.
He's holding his monocle. Enough to make the sky seem impossibly deep and the universe impossibly large. Kevin had done a comprehensive 10-page report on the universe last year. There were supernovas and giant quasars out there at the far reaches of existence. There were billions of stars in each galaxy, and there were more galaxies than people on the face of the Earth. Just thinking about it could make a person realize how small and insignificant his own problems were. But not Kevin. No.
Does it say that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course.
Are you coming in or what? Asked Josh. He had already satisfied his interest in the majesty of nature and was now in the small tent they shared, satisfying himself, reading a comic book. The tent was gradually filling with mosquitoes and moths that flew in holding patterns around Josh's flashlight. Kevin, who stood just outside the tent, had left the zipper on the mosquito net open.
Kevin, you
Idiot.
asshole.
Fucking idiot. He couldn't see it. Kevin couldn't turn away from the mountain because he had the uncanny feeling that it was watching him. A soft wind rasped through the trees, and Kevin imagined if a mountain was a living thing, if it could breathe, this is what it would sound like.
That's right when my AC kicked on, by the way.
Oh, it's watching you, Chris.
Oh, shit. Chris, the mountain's watching.
Do you live in the Devil's Punch Bowl?
Yeah,
Yeah, Canton.
Baltimore City. Devil's Punch Bowl, it was gold.
You live in the Devil's Punch Bowl? That was my Baltimore accent. That was terrible. It was a terrible one.
That was
Cut it out.
confusing.
Cut it out.
Oh,
cut it
you
out.
live in the Devil's Punch Bowl.
That was closer.
No one's really
We're not
nailing
really.
it.
No
We
one's
need Brian
nailing it.
Wade.
Yeah, that's what I was
He
gonna
does
say.
the best Baltimore accent of us all.
Put a leash on that imagination, his mother's voice said in his head, before it drags you across the lawn. You know what moms say?
It's also just like a very creative and imaginative way
Way
of
to say
saying
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where does he
people
get it
aren't this
from?
well written.
Kevin broke his trance and stepped into the tent. Listen to this, said Josh, flipping a page in his comic book. The steroid Avenger gets sucked into a black hole, travels back 40 years in time, and accidentally kills his father. Chris,
I wanna
that's what
read
it
that
sounds like
comic.
when you explain comics to me.
It's not that far from the truth.
Steroid Avenger. Can't do it, said Kevin, because then he'd never get born. That's the thing, said Josh. Now the only way he can get born is if he becomes his own father. Gross, said Kevin. That means he has to marry his mother.
Yeah, Mary is
Yeah,
what we're all
Mary.
talking about. Mary.
Josh shrugged. That's what you get for messing with time and space. Take notes, Marvel.
Foreshadowing.
Unless time is linear.
What?
That was always supposed to happen.
Okay. Kevin sipped the mosquito netting closed. Considering the events of the day, Kevin idly wished he could be sucked into a black hole and end up in some other universe entirely. Because he wanted to fuck his
Foreshadowing.
mom, I guess. He slipped into his sleeping bag and stared up at the peak of the tent, wondering if the mountain could still see him through the thin blue vinyl. As Kevin lay there, an idea began to boil in his mind until he had to open his mouth and let it overflow. I'm gonna climb the mountain, said Kevin. Not yet knowing how serious he really was. I thought they were all gonna climb the mountain.
Yeah, me too.
I guess not. Okay. In
don't
your
know.
dreams, said Josh, returning to his comic book. Kevin ought to have left it at that, but the thought nagged at him as much as the pain in his eye and mouth did. As much as the sounds in his head of kids laughing. I'm climbing it tonight, said Kevin, and I don't care if I get in trouble. I'll be the one there at dawn, and I'll stand at the top, waving down to everyone. I'll even give Bertram the finger.
What?
Josh turned his flashlight into Kevin's face. Flipping someone off from a mountain, though, seems kind of like a power move.
And I'm just picturing like your shadow of it.
And you're just like, no one can hear you. You can come if you want, said Kevin. Josh held the flashlight on Kevin's face a moment
Josh is
longer.
like, oh, I'll come to. All right. Tonight in my sleeping bag.
Yes. Josh held the flashlight on Kevin's face a moment longer, and when Kevin didn't break out laughing, Josh turned off his light. The tent seemed much smaller in the dark, and their words seemed much more important.
You think Mr. Kirkpatrick's story was real? Whispered Josh. I don't know, but there's only one way to find out. Be there at dawn, in the balance of dark and day. Josh took forever to think it through. Why do you want to do this? He finally asked. Kevin shrugged. Because it's there, he said, but that wasn't it. Because no one thinks we'd have the guts to do it, he added. But that was only part of it. The rest was something far bigger. It had to do with the way the mountain stared at him, the way it just wouldn't leave him alone. Its dark face had gravity that was pulling Kevin toward it. Because, said Kevin, if there really is magic in this mountain, then I want to be the one to find it. Kevin and Josh waited, fully dressed in their dark tent, listening to the voices of the other kids as they settled down for the night. Then they listened to the teachers, who sat around complaining about the principal, the way the kids complained about their teachers. Finally, there were no voices, only the chorus of crickets and the rustling of leaves. They began the trek sometime around midnight. The very excitement of the climb propelled them through the quarter-mile of woods to the great stone face of the Divine Watch. "We'll have to walk around to the other side," said Kevin. "The eastern slope should be a cinch." "This is nuts," Josh sighed. "Someone ought to reach in through your ears and slap that shrimpoid brain of yours." None of that was ad-lib. That is as written. The mountain breathed a chilling wind down the face of the cliff, and Josh looked up. Kevin could see the concern building up in Josh's eyes. Josh wasn't the worrying
I
type.
keep forgetting which one is Josh and which one is Kevin, because they're just both such boy names.
Yeah.
Like generic boy names. Like, wait, who, which one, what?
Kevin's the main dude.
Kevin's our leading man.
I know.
With a
I
name
just
like
keep
Kevin.
forgetting when they go back and forth. I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Josh wasn't the worrying type, but on the rare occasion when he did find something worth worrying about, he would worry himself silly.
You want to just finish this, C, and I'll just get the next page? Because it's so short.
"People die climbing mountains, Kevin," said Josh. "Bears bite their heads off, and vultures pick at their bones. I just thought you should know. I'm not turning back." Josh zipped the last few teeth of his jacket zipper until he was as warm as he was going to get.
Ooh, we all know what that jacket looks like. It's cool as shit.
"Are you scared, Kevin?" "I've never been so scared in my life," Kevin said with a smile. Kevin Midas never knew it could feel this great, being this scared.
Jesus.
This might be a well-written book that we're making fun of.
It's one of the best written kids books I think we've read, for sure.
This might be the one we get a cease and desist on. I hope so. Then we finally made it.
Do you think Neal Shusterman, or whatever his name is out there just...
Shusterman.
Shusterman. I have a feeling that Neal Shusterman's like living in the, like, off the grid.
Yeah, this is...
Like the Unabomber?
He's
like,
living
not,
at the divine...
Yeah, like not plotting to bomb something, but yeah, like the Unabomber.
I just wish some millennials would parody my book.
You don't write this kind of shit and then just like live in a penthouse.
This guy went hard, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
Chapter 3. The Balance of Dark and Day. As anyone who has done it can tell you, most of the really important mountain climbing lessons are learned the first time. Kevin's and Josh's first lessons were, in fact, 5 of the most important ones. 1. Mountains are a heck of a lot larger than they look. 2. Granite is just as hard as you think it is. 3. Just because trees might be growing on a slope, that doesn't mean it ain't steep. 4. Flashlights are useless unless you've got a whole lot of batteries. All of this added together equals the biggest lesson of them all. 5. Never ever climb a mountain at night. None of this, however, was going to stop Kevin and Josh.
I don't know if those are real rules.
Yeah, this doesn't feel... That feels very much like
those
off
feel...
the cuff.
Yeah. It's like there's a hastily slapped together nature of those rules.
Some of those seem important. Like, climbing the mountain at midnight is a terrible, terrible idea.
Definitely.
And not
Yeah,
having
yeah.
flashlight batteries.
I just feel like there's probably more real rules for mountain climbing.
Probably.
Yeah.
But they're 12.
Yes.
That's true, yeah.
And he thinks the mountain is watching him and breathing.
Yes, they're 12
And he
thinks
just
the
ate a
mountain is
pine
watching,
cone.
and he just ate a pine cone, and they're climbing a mountain
And
at
he
midnight.
can't even see.
And he's like, Josh,
He
I
got-
just realized the 5 rules of mountain climbing.
He got a taste of mountain climbing, literally.
That's why he wants to do it.
Yeah. None of this, however, was going to stop Kevin and Josh. It took them over an hour to make their way around the face of the mountain and find a point where they could begin climbing. Another hour later, their flashlights could only create dull brown patches on the ground that wouldn't help an ant find its way. Halfway through the night, lit only by the bright moonlight, Kevin and Josh were beginning to stumble. Their legs were getting scratched and bruised through their jeans, and the soles of their Nikes were fraying and going bald faster than Mr.
They was wearing
Kirkpatrick.
Reeboks before.
No,
the other kid, the
Bertram
bad
was
kid was-
wearing.
yeah.
Oh.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Good
It's like
kids wear Nikes.
It's like an
Okay.
iPhone and Android thing.
Yeah.
Like good kids wear Nikes, and then bad guys wear Reeboks.
Yeah.
And there was the ever-present sense that they were not alone on the mountain. With nothing but forest sounds...
There's probably cougars up there.
Yeah. Of course they're not. There's coyotes.
Just late-age
Cougars.
ladies looking for little boys.
Yep, that's the one.
I can hear them call. Hello down there. With
Well, I'm turned on.
yeah.
Hello there, big boy.
What are you, 12? With nothing but forest sounds and the monotonous padding of his own aching feet to occupy his mind, Kevin's vivid imagination began to conjure up all sorts of dark mountain terrors. Bigfoot to the left, mountain lions to the right, stuck in the middle with Josh. And up ahead, the fluttering of bats.
Did it say that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Vampire bats. Big ones that could swarm over you and suck you dry in seconds the way piranhas could devour a horse. And vultures would pick at our bones, Kevin thought.
Why would you care at that point, though?
About vultures?
If the vultures are picking at your bones, you're already
already
dead
dead.
because something else killed you.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh no, my bones have been desecrated.
Like insult
you're
to injury?
dead.
Yeah.
Oh no, my bones.
At least
My
leave my
bones.
bones in peace. Oh
Let
no!
them bury me with honor.
Bonitis.
Oh man, I hope no one turns my skull into a drinking vessel.
Oh no, Ed Gein.
Kevin knew Josh was thinking the same sorts of things, but he wasn't saying anything. As long as they didn't slow down and didn't talk about it, everything would be fine. The farther they got, the harder it was to turn back, especially with all those sounds echoing around them. That's the sunk cost fallacy, Kevin. You'll learn about that later in life. After what seemed like an eternity, the trees became fewer and farther between until they finally gave way to prickly bushes and jagged rocks. The moon was a pumpkin on the horizon, and dawn
Nice.
gently hinted on the opposite side of the sky. It was sometime around 5:30 when they finally dared to rest on a flat granite plateau. Kevin looked up at the mountain summit as he dumped sand and pebble from his ruined shoes. It still appeared far away. I don't know who's dumber, said Josh. You for coming up with the stupid idea, or me for coming with you? Kevin leaned back against the cold rock, trying to catch his breath. We're almost there, he said. Now dawn was wasting no time. Kevin could already see a blurry ribbon of red where the sun would eventually rise. You know, I've been thinking, said Josh. Maybe if something does happen up there at sunrise, maybe we're not supposed to see it.
I thought you didn't believe the story, said Kevin. I don't, said Josh, but still. Kevin imagined some of the things that might happen. Their hair could turn white. They could be blinded for life. Yes, those are things that could happen. At almost 6 a.m, after a sleepless night, Kevin could believe almost anything. Nah, said Kevin. Anyway, if we weren't supposed to be here, something would have stopped us by now. Killed us, you mean, corrected Josh. That's when they heard it again, more clearly than before. The steady padding of feet and a hint of heavy breath, like an animal, a huge animal on 4 feet. Kevin and Josh froze as they looked down the slope into darkness. Kevin smelled it before they saw anything, a sickly sweet smell like rotting fruit. Kevin instantly knew the nature of the beast by its smell. It's Bertram, said Kevin.
Oh my god.
And 30-some-odd yards down the mountain came a distant, surprised voice. Who's that?
Wait, so Bertram smells like dead flesh?
I guess they didn't mention that at any other part. Maybe he was rolling around in
Big
that
League Chew.
outhouse.
Just like when you say sickly sweet, I'm just thinking like rotten flesh.
Well, yeah, he sounds like a zombie.
Yeah.
Kevin and Josh could see more clearly now. There were 2 of them. Hal and Bertram had dared to climb the mountain together, and now they stared at Kevin and Josh with jaws dropped halfway to their knees. Bertram clenched his fist and gritted his donkey teeth.
Donkey?
It's like a horse donkey pit bull, you know?
Yeah.
He's been downgraded to donkey.
Yes.
Well, the braces are doing their job.
Midas! He screamed. If you and Wilson get to the top before we do, you die!
I'll throw you off the mountain. I'll commit murder.
Yes.
We could totally drop a rock on them from here.
That was all Kevin needed to hear. Let's go, move your butt. Kevin nearly dragged Josh up the mountain with him. This was their climb, and Kevin would rather die than let Bertram and Hal muscle in on it.
You might.
They might. The top of the mountain, which had seemed so far away before, now looked close enough for Kevin to touch. It came to a sharp peak like a witch's head, but the top was flat. The very top was flat and just big enough, perhaps, for someone to stand on it.
That's why they called it the Devil's Stovepipe. That someone is going to be me, thought Kevin as he lifted his aching feet one after the other, getting higher and higher. There were no more bushes to grab onto,
like
only
Jackie
sharp
Wilson.
stone. Dead meat, yelled Bertram. You guys are both dead meat. Kevin didn't care. Chills ran down the length of his body and his fingertips began to tingle. He had actually climbed a mountain. Suddenly, Kevin no longer felt exhausted, no longer felt the fear of the climb. All that remained in him was a burning desire to touch the top of the watch.
I'm just thinking about the teachers waking up. They're like, are we missing 4 kids?
All right, head count. He reached down to help Josh, and Josh helped push Kevin higher when there wasn't anything to grip. They were a perfect team, and now Josh was filled with the same determination Kevin felt. Kevin almost had to fight to stay in the lead. If we do this, Kevin, said Josh, we'll be legends. We'll be legends forever. Bertram and Hal
Everyone will
were
know our
closing in right
name
on
in the middle
Josh's tail.
school.
Yeah.
Screaming at each other, blaming each other for not moving fast enough. The 4 boys found themselves clinging to the mountain at the steepest part of the climb, and for the first time Kevin could see how high and dangerous this climb was. One slip, and he would crash down onto hard rocks hundreds of feet below. The fear only added to his excitement. He learned something about himself that day. Wouldn't his parents just roll over and die if they saw him now? He would have laughed if he could catch his breath. The crimson horizon had bloomed into a bright blue streak of dawn, and the night raced away with a howling wind that tore at the boys as they scaled
This
the
is
last few
beautiful.
feet of the Divine Watch.
Jesus
In
Christ,
moments.
that sentence.
That's insane.
I'm gonna read it again.
Can you read it again? Because I feel like I got pretty lost in it.
The crimson horizon had bloomed into a bright blue streak of dawn, and the night raced away with a howling wind that tore at the boys as they scaled the last few feet of the Divine Watch.
It's like when R.L. Stein gets poetic for like one sentence in every book.
I think he has like a max of 3 sentences per book.
Yeah.
In moments, the sun would peer over the horizon, marking the balance of dark and day. Bertram and Hal were in line right below Josh and had given up trying to get there first. Now they would settle for getting there, period. It was as if the rest of the world had vanished, and all that remained were 4 boys and the brutally steep mountain.
I just cannot believe this is all leading to them, like, what I assume is finding a pair of sunglasses
magic
on top of this fucking mountain.
Yeah, I know. I don't...
Like, can you imagine climbing a mountain and what's up there is sunglasses?
The whole book could have just been climbing the mountain.
And you're like...
Yes.
You're like, did the Native Americans make them?
Yeah. Magic devil sunglasses.
The fashionista tribe.
The historical tribe of Ray-Ban.
Yeah. Who lived in their sunglass huts.
Who were often at war with the Oakleys.
Oh, no. Okay.
The wind chilled Kevin to the bone, buffeting his exhausted body. It blew into his face, making his eyes wet and cold. Above him, the clouds changed shape and danced by faster than any Kevin had ever seen before. He reached out his right hand, stretching it as far as he possibly could, and finally, after a whole night of climbing, his fingertips touched the flat top of the Divine Watch. He reached up his left hand and pulled himself up so that he could gaze across the top. As Kevin's eyes cleared the top of the watch, the first rays of sun shot from the horizon behind him, growing more powerful with each passing moment. They hit his back, warming his ice-cold neck. The bright light cast the shadow of Kevin's curly blonde head across the smooth tabletop surface
That was not
of the
how I was
Divine
picturing
Watch.
him.
Yeah, me neither.
You can't wait until 23 pages in
Yeah.
to tell us what he looks like.
Yeah.
What anyone's hair looks like.
Yeah.
All we have so far are names that end with S-O-N.
We have names and some smells.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
some smells.
Names and Smells, the book.
Yes. That's what it was like. A polished stone tabletop, smooth and round, no more than 3 feet across. Even with his fuzzy vision, Kevin can tell that the view was spectacular. The mountains before him gave way to rolling hills, and then an expanse of desert, still cloaked in shadow. Beyond the desert was a blur that could have been anything to his nearsighted eyes. "What's it like, Kevin?" yelled Josh over the sound of the wind.
It's blurry.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful.
Say anything up there? Yelled Hal. Kevin looked at the smooth surface. There was something there. Something small and shiny.
God.
A
my
ball
God.
of light grabbing the sun, changing its color and scattering it across the mountaintop. But the glare from the sun made it hard for Kevin to see what it was. "Well, what's happening up there, Midas?" yelled Bertram. "We ain't got all day."
I mean, we do. The
Yeah.
day
You
just
You literally-
started.
Literally just began.
You quite literally do have all day.
You couldn't have more of a day left.
You dumb little idiot.
Kevin squinted his eyes and pulled himself up another inch until his head eclipsed the sun and the object was trapped in his shadow. The object, which seemed so formless before, now had a definite shape that Kevin recognized
I'm not
immediately.
emotionally prepared for this.
Bret Hart glasses.
It's a pair of glasses, said Kevin. Oh, you gotta be kidding, cried Hal.
Which is like the most natural reaction in this book so far.
Yeah.
Really?
No, really. It was a pair of sunglasses, dark, sleek, and smooth. Maybe Ray-Bans. Its lenses were a single visor-like blade suspended from a black and gold half frame. That is
Just to remind
Awesome.
you what
Yeah,
they look
yeah.
That's
like.
awesome.
that's wow. Yeah, that's fucking 90s as fuck. The dark silvery lenses seem to shimmer
Guys that
with
wear
colors.
those types of glasses now have a lot of opinions.
The dark silvery lenses seem to shimmer with colors like the northern lights. Someone must have been here before, thought Kevin. Instead of carving their initials, they must have left the glasses to stake their claim, because that's what you would do. Obviously, you'd leave your sunglasses. To be
Some
like,
guy
I
named
was here.
Brad. It was like, this is my mountain now.
Yeah, it was definitely Brad or Brett.
Old Bret Hart.
As Kevin stretched out his arm across the Divine Watch toward the glasses, the wind screamed in his ears, and the reality he'd been fighting back all night suddenly took hold. What was he doing here? He could fall. He could die. What was he thinking? Panic screamed at him like 1,000 voices in the wind, demanding he leave this dangerous place now and get back to the campsite this very instant. Still, he wanted those glasses. They would be his prize for reaching the top first. He fought against the panicking voices and hooked the glasses with his index finger, pulling them toward him.
Let us get up there, Midas. Get out of the way.
I made myself cough doing that voice. Ugh, Bertram, demanded Bertram. Just a second! Kevin looked at the glasses closely. They were the height of style.
Were they?
They were the height of style and must have been very, very expensive. He put them on, hooking the smooth golden black half frame around his ears. Blackness. Then, a speck of light as his eyes began to adjust to the dark lenses.
Chris sent us a picture of, I assume, Bret Michaels.
Bret
For
Hart.
reference, Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Who's Bret Michaels? That's
I don't
somebody,
know.
right?
Bret Michaels was the lead singer of Poison.
Oh.
Okay, so two John
John
Nagel
Nagel's
references.
so
I think
mad at
John
you
Nagel
right
was
now.
posting about Poison today.
He was.
I mean, that's like a gimme.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's true.
John Nagle posted
can
about Bret
assume
Michaels
on any
today.
It's
day.
a day that ends in Y. John Nagel posted about poison. John, we love you.
We love you, John.
Blackness. Then a speck of light as his eyes began to adjust to the dark lenses. But it was more than just his eyes adjusting. It was as if the lenses were lightening up for his eyes, bringing everything into focus.
He discovered transitions.
These weren't mere sunglasses. They seemed to fit Kevin's prescription as well. They were perfect. All right, they were a bit too big for his head, but otherwise they couldn't be beat. Now the view before him stretched out in perfect focus. He could see lines of roads, little insect dots that must have been cars.
The blur beyond the desert was very definitely a mountain range on the horizon. The solitary shadow of the Divine Watch painted a gray triangle across the sands, and the shadow's tip rested on a tiny sliver of rock that stood up like a hairline spike in the distant mountain range.
That whole paragraph sounds like a Decemberist song title.
I can see it, screamed Kevin, only half believing. What? Asked Josh. The devil's chair, just like Kirkpatrick said. Just like he said. How can you see anything? Asked Hal. You're blind as a bat. Josh's eyes cleared the top and he scanned the horizon. I don't see a thing, said Josh. It's too hazy. Kevin tried to climb higher, daring to actually stand atop the Divine Watch, but it was not meant to be. He was in too much of a hurry. He moved too quickly and lost his balance. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Gasp.
Kevin fell onto Josh, who toppled onto Hal, who crashed into Bertram.
Oh, no.
And the foursome plunged down the rocky cliff, rolling over sharp rocks and over each other until they smashed against a hard plateau 50 feet below.
50 feet?
That's a lot, isn't it?
50 feet?
That's
Are they like rolling?
not good.
Or, Jesus.
Also, it's like, I don't think they're called plateaus. I think they're called cliffs,
Well, plateau is flat, right?
but singular.
Okay.
You have
What?
a flat part sticking out of a higher part. That's not called a plateau. That's
The
a
top
cliff.
of it's called a plateau.
They're on a mountain. There's lots of cliffs and plateaus, I imagine. They just fell onto a flat part of the mountain.
The flat part of the mountain, Chris.
Sometime later.
A cliff.
The cliff? No.
The cliff's the
no,
top
the cliff
part.
is the side. The cliff is the sheer part.
I don't. Oh God, I don't care. I just want to be done now. At sometime later, after crashing into a plateau, at 10 a.m., Bertram came into camp with a long scrape on his arm and skinned knees. He's pretty fucking lucky that that's all he got. He was followed by Hal, who was limping, and Josh, who had a cut on his face and scratched up hands, and Kevin, who, having landed on Bertram, was completely unharmed.
Awesome. Good.
Oh my God.
Except
What a
for
great sentence.
except for his face, which is fucked up from Bertram from the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unharmed except for the previous damage.
Yeah.
For the entire trip back, Kevin had been all smiles. He had seen the top of the watch, survived the climb, and acquired a souvenir to boot. And Bertram, who was too tired to beat him up at this point, would not get his hands on these glasses.
Oh yeah.
Not in my life. There was an uncanny, unpleasant sense that their experience on the mountain had somehow linked the four of them together like prisoners in a chain gang. But no one talked about it. No one talked much at all on the way back. The boys marched into camp looking like the sole survivors of a major plane crash, and they made their way to their tents. No one had noticed their disappearance, and no one noticed their return. What, with so many
Jeez,
kids running
these
this way and that?
Terrible, terrible teachers.
Okay, there's several words in this sentence that are the first letters capitalized, and none of it will make sense.
Okay.
What, with so many kids running this way and that, throwing up Kirkpatrick's chili eggs scrambled with garlic over an open fire?
Dude, that's-
Wait, throwing up?
are they
Were the
vomiting?
children vomiting
Wait.
eggs?
I guess the breakfast he made wasn't great.
Oh wait. Okay. So it's it's capitalized because it's like Kirkpatrick's famous chili eggs
Famous
scrambled.
vomit-inducing eggs.
scrambled with garlic over an open fire.
So I guess if all the children had food poisoning, then you wouldn't notice 4 were gone.
I guess.
Although you'd think you do a morning head count.
Well, if I named them vomit-inducing eggs, no one would eat them.
That does sound like a really Dumbledore thing to do, though. Like make like scrambled eggs that makes kids vomit, and then he'd be like, "Oh, it's just me.
That's why I made them.
I'm a scamp."
They wearily went to their tents to get a few minutes of sleep before they were dragged out for the day's festivities.
Who's like eggs and garlic? And by chili, do we think he means like chili like the pepper or chili like some chili?
Oh, God. Just like chili.
Just like gloop, 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 like chili.
Scrambled eggs.
From a can.
That's what I think it is, because that would make me throw up.
Yes.
That would make me vomit.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes me want to throw up right now thinking about it.
Yeah.
Here, Chris, do this page too, because that was so short.
Alrighty. Chapter 4. Kevin finds rocks in his head. Not ad-libbed. That's the actual title of it. Rumors spread, as rumors do, at the speed of light squared, and the buzz around the campsite focused on a single question. Could it possibly be true? Could they have climbed the Divine Watch, and could Kevin Midas actually have gotten there first? Bertram denied that it ever happened. He would rather lie than allow Kevin the smallest glimpse of glory. But what about Josh's cut and Hal's bruises? What about my glasses? Kevin tried to reason with the doubters. I can explain all
What about
that.
my glasses? I couldn't have found these anywhere except for the top of a mountain.
I can explain all that, said Nicole Patterson, who in an earlier chapter was always counted on to... hold on. In an earlier chapter was described as being able to explain everything. And then in this chapter, said Nicole Patterson, who could always be counted on to explain all things. Hal's a clumsy ox, she said. If he wasn't bruised all the time, I'd be surprised. Josh is a cut because Bertram must have slammed his face into a tree or something, and you must have found those glasses under a bush. Kevin knew he'd never change her mind, so instead he just pushed his glasses farther up on his nose and asked proudly, "Do you like them?" Nicole pondered them and shrugged. The most realistic portrayal of human interaction in this entire book. They'd look a lot better on a larger head, she said. And so, until about 3 o'clock that afternoon, Kevin's life was pretty much unchanged.
At 3, Bertram did some diving. Later,
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Why?
Wait, what?
Why?
What? Wait,
I have no idea.
That's gonna haunt me. That sentence is gonna haunt me. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. Thinking about why we needed to know that Bertram did some diving at 3.
Wow.
Write down at 3,
Wow.
Bertram did some diving. She's
caps.
doing
I'm
it.
not
All
gonna
caps.
know what this means next time, and it's gonna make me crazy.
It'll be even more enigmatic. What? Okay, sorry. Go on.
The assignment that afternoon was to do something that Native Americans might have done 1,000 years ago. Most
Diving.
kids were spread out around a large, ice-cold pond near the
Oh.
campsite. Some hunted fish unsuccessfully with sharp sticks. Some ground berries into war paint. Others were doing a sad-looking rain dance. And the rest watched with deep dread as Kirkpatrick cooked a snack of stir-fried forest findings.
It
Oh
was
my
all.
god, he's gonna kill them.
He is going to kill them, and it was all very cultural appropriation.
Yeah, none of this was at all
Just
insensitive.
make up what you think they might do.
What do you think orangutans look like? Also, I
Just
like
make
the
up, yeah.
I like the idea of like kids unsuccessfully fishing with sharp sticks. Really, just means that kids have sharp sticks that they're just fucking stabbing in
jamming
the
into
water
water.
and not doing anything.
Any boys in woods will always turn into Lord of the Flies.
True.
Kevin and Josh were lying on a boulder overlooking the pond. We're studying the cloud for a message from the sun god, they told Kirkpatrick, like Native Americans might have done. Kirkpatrick bought it and let them spend the afternoon basking in the sun, resting their aching feet.
Good thing
Scamps.
he
Kevin
was a
Bast-
fucking idiot also.
Yeah.
Kirkpatrick is like the worst teacher.
Dumber than these kids.
Kirkpatrick was like, I gotta get back to the meal I'm cooking.
It's like, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
It's only 80% lethal. Kevin basked with his glasses on. Through the dark lenses, he could see Josh staring at him. Josh was examining the glasses the way he would stare at a brand new sports car, letting his eyes move across the perfect surface. "You know," said Josh, They could have been mine if I got there first. Kevin shrugged. That's the brakes.
I believe it's the brakes.
Yeah. Your parents will probably hate them, said Josh. Kevin wondered if they'd even noticed. His mother rarely seemed to notice anything Kevin did, and his father was still trying to figure Kevin out. Neglect,
Kevin.
guys.
Jesus Christ.
It was the mid-90s.
Mm-hmm.
They won't care.
Our
said
parents
Kevin.
had us because they thought they had to. They didn't know any other way.
And then they were like,
These
why are
kids
you
are
this
millennials.
way?
They definitely are going through it.
Yeah.
Why aren't you just me?
Why are you like this?
Why are you
Or
like
they
this?
didn't plan it and they're just stuck with you.
You think Nicole likes your glasses? He asked with a grin. Kevin frowned. She thinks I have a pinhead. You do, said Josh. But that's okay, because you've also got a pin body.
You're just a pin.
Ew.
He's just a pin.
I also love that we've mentioned that Huey's 7 feet tall, but on his like little frame of the Zoom, it looks like he's very short.
It does. He looks like a. He looks like a.
You're really far down there.
You look like a Lord of the Rings dwarf.
Sorry, I was slouching.
I was gonna say you look like a dwarf, but like I want to specify like a fantasy one.
Yeah, like
Oh,
John
yeah.
Rhys Davies.
Yeah, like a Gimli. You look like a Gimli.
I'm
Forced
proud to be
perspective.
John Rhys Davies.
Yeah.
Dwarf. Sliders.
What?
It's a TV show.
Okay.
John Rhys Davies was in with Jerry O'Connell.
Oh, not interested.
I sound like Chris right now.
And Cleveland Derricks.
Is that what I sound like? And Kari were.
Wait, no.
Oh,
If
yeah.
I had said fun facts
Season
first,
3
I would
onward.
I
sound
feel
like
like you're
Chris.
fucking making up names.
It's about
I didn't ask.
Moving on. Kevin was searching for a comeback line when Bertram called to them from across the pond.
Kevin, might I suggest I didn't ask? It works pretty well.
Yeah, it does. Hey! Bellowed Bertram. Hey, Midas!
Donkey, horse, pit bull mouth.
Yeehaw! I hope you know I'm not talking to you because of what you did. I hope you know I'm not talking to you because of what you did is not a thing a bully says.
Yeah. They don't say I hope you know.
I hope you know.
To start any
Yeah.
sentence.
Kevin, with the safety of a small lake between them, that's really funny.
You have a
That's
small
really funny.
lake.
Wouldn't a small lake be a pond?
It is a pond. It is a pond.
It's
It's just good writing.
The mental image of trying to keep the small lake between them, so if Bertram moves, he's like, scooting back and forth.
Yeah. Oh my god. Kevin bellowed back. Are you saying that you admit we climbed the mountain and I got there first? We admit nothing! Bellowed Hal, who stood firmly and strongly in Bertram's shadow.
What a great sentence. Oh my god.
This whole book is
That was-
great, man.
That was awesome.
All we admit
Said Bertram.
is that you and Wilson are gonna have a short life expectancy unless you stay out of our way.
Go jump in a lake, said Kevin.
A small lake.
Kevin. Good one, Kevin.
And sure enough, Bertram flung out his arms and did a commanding belly flop onto the frigid water.
Is that supposed to be intimidating?
Yep.
Just like,
Like,
Just
oh, he told me to do something,
called a
so
power
I
flop.
did it.
a power flop.
When he surfaced and scrambled for shore, both Kevin and Josh broke out in raucous laughter. It was echoed by everyone else in attendance. Bertram climbed out of the water and onto the boulder he had been standing on, trying to figure out what had happened.
Oh, he's like the kid from the Twilight Zone now that he has the glasses.
Oh.
I'm looking at it so I can read it
He's,
to myself. He said go jump in a lake.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he did. He had to do it.
He did.
flopped in.
He had to do it. Oh my god. Okay, guys, okay. Hey, Bertram! Yelled Kevin, pushing the glasses farther up his face.
Why does he keep pushing things so far up his face?
Well, he has a very
There's
narrow
only
nose.
so far it can go.
Yeah, if they're already up there.
We've established he has a pinhead, so they constantly
have a
get-
pinhead.
They
It's
constantly
just
slide
like
down.
straight up and down.
Yeah, they're always like. That was pretty good, but can you do it again? Bertram slipped, spun his arms a few times, and flew into the lake once more. Splash! Everyone watching collapsed into convulsions. Bertram blubbered his way to shore, only to find Hal laughing too. "Hey, Bertram," said Hal. "Don't look now, but I think there's a fish in your pants." Bertram then screamed his guts out, because, as everyone knew...
What?
Yes.
Hang on a second.
I can't see it. You have to tell me.
I know. I'm gonna.
Please tell me.
As everyone knew, Bekah,
Yes.
Bertram was deathly afraid of live fish
Live fish.
due to some early childhood trauma.
What does that mean?
I don't know if we're gonna get an explanation. He leapt around like a madman until finally a small bullhead trout came flopping out of the leg of his jeans.
Oh, bullhead? Nice. I don't know anything about fish.
I caught one of those in Red Dead 2 recently.
Oh,
I threw it back. Kevin and
as you would.
Just like Bertram.
just like Bertram. I didn't scream like a little bitch like Bertram did, though. Kevin and Josh were in stitches, but when they finally recovered enough to look at Bertram's face, they realized he had quickly overcome his terror.
Oh no.
Oh no.
His fists were clenched, his jaw was clenched, and there was an evil look in his eyes. The chainsaw look, as people called it. That was in quotations.
From when he killed someone with a chainsaw.
You think
Bertram,
the school administration has like a file on this kid?
Billion
I
percent.
hope so.
Or
Like,
was this still back when they just ignored
no,
all
the
that
cops
shit?
are waiting for him to turn 18.
This is a
Yeah.
boys will be boys situation for sure.
Yeah.
Boys will be serial killers.
Bertram left his rock and began to run around the lake toward them, picking up speed like a locomotive. Hal
He yelled, "Here comes the pain train!"
A chugga 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 chugga.
Hal ran
chugga.
around the lake the other way.
Oh, that's smart, actually.
The sight of the rapidly approaching chainsaw quickly sobered Kevin and Josh, who were drunk as shit. They turned and raced barefoot into the woods.
Do they call him a chainsaw because when he runs, he goes...
Yes, definitely. Nice going, Kevin, Josh hissed. Kevin made it to safety, but Josh, whose feet were more swollen than Kevin's,
From the mountain.
was snatched by Hal and put into an extremely full Nelson. Extremely full Nelson was funny like twice.
Yeah,
And at
but
this
now-
point, it's just not funny anymore.
Yeah.
It's too many times. Kevin hid behind an outcropping of boulders.
He should call it a Hal Nelson.
Yeah.
Like a half,
Ah,
like a
yeah.
half
Yeah.
Nelson, but because his name is Hal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be good.
that'd be better.
Kevin hid behind an outcropping of boulders, waiting for an opportunity to spring Josh, and watched as a soaking wet Bertram came into the clearing. "You laughed at me?" Bertram screeched into Josh's face like a psychotic drill sergeant. I know I didn't do good with that line. I'm sorry.
No, it was good.
It was perfect.
No, said Josh. We were laughing with you. I love Josh.
Oh, I don't know if he's that dumb, Josh.
You thought that was funny? The thing with the fish? Try as he might, Josh couldn't hold back his smile. Bertram took Josh's arm and tugged it hard enough to send him sprawling in the dust. But what about Midas? Asked Hal. One at a time, said Bertram, flashing his teeth in a wide, crooked smile, like a serial killer.
Oh, no.
And I don't care what the teachers do to me. I don't care what my father does to me.
Oh, God.
And I don't
Oh.
even care if Midas calls out his big sister on me. Tell
Yeah,
me
they've
more
never
about
yet.
this sister.
Oh, I can't wait to find out about his big sister.
I must know more. Bertram pulled Josh to his feet and began to swing a heavy fist at Josh's nose.
Jesus.
Kevin had to think fast. There had to be a way to get out of this mess. Josh ducked, missing the first punch, but Bertram swung again. Kevin didn't have time for a brainstorm, so a moderate brain drizzle would have to do.
Amazing. Amazing.
With all of his might, he leaned against one of the boulders in front of him until it crashed to the ground with a thud. So he's gonna roll boulders at this.
What is he, Chris
Child?
Redfield?
He's just punching it.
Yeah.
Avalanche, said Kevin. Huh? Bertram and Hal were distracted for only an instant, but that's all it took for Josh to slip away. Kevin and Josh ran off together, thinking they had made an easy escape. Then they saw a storm of boulders smashing down the slope toward them. Suddenly, Bertram didn't care about who had been laughing at him. He and Hal took off as the rumble around them grew louder and the boulders pounded closer.
What if they died right now?
Oh my god.
Josh turned to run as fast as his legs could carry him, but Kevin just stood there like a rabbit frozen on the highway, watching doom approach at 60 miles per hour. Kevin's particular doom was a boulder twice his size, pounding down the mountain. He watched as it bounced towards him. It flattened a tree stump, then hit a sharp rock and split in two. The boulder parted around Kevin, brushing both his shoulders at the same time.
What?
When Kevin turned, he saw Josh.
That's some Buster Keaton shit.
When Kevin turned, he saw Josh, who looked like a bowling pin with legs, as he danced to avoid the stones rolling around him. When the last of the boulders had passed, Josh breathed a sigh of relief and began screaming at Kevin. "What's your problem?" yelled Josh. "Why did you just stand there?" Kevin felt nothing. Not fear, not anger. He felt numb. 100% numb.
That's depressing.
He spoke very slowly. "There was no avalanche, Josh." Josh caught his breath and tried to stop shaking. "What do you call this? A hailstorm?" "Well, yeah, there was an avalanche," said Kevin. "But I mean, there wasn't an avalanche when I said there was." "Yeah," said Josh. "Well, maybe the rocks just fell out of your pinhead." Ooh, harsh words from Josh. The glasses had fallen during the avalanche, and when Kevin picked them up, they were hot, as if they had been in the sun too long.
You want to just wrap that one?
Should be the end, probably.
"It's lucky they weren't smashed," said Kevin. "It's lucky we weren't smashed," said Josh, looking around him at all of the death and carnage that has been wrought. "Let's get out of here. This spot must get avalanches all the time." But Kevin knew that wasn't the case.
Man. Holy shit.
Yeah,
It is very strange that it's called Midas when it's like a monkey's paw, kinda.
It has nothing to do with turning anything to gold.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with touch at all. It's just saying stuff.
Yeah.
At the very least, it's the name of the character.
Yeah, but the book is called Eyes of Kid Midas, like
King Midas. It seems to be
Midas.
Kevin Monkey Paw.
Well, I mean, maybe he ends up like conquering the world and they have to call him Kid Midas because it's what he wants to be called.
Maybe he starts being like, "That's gold. That's gold. That chair's
That's
gold.
gold. This is
that
gold.
bottle's gold."
Yeah.
And then
I can't wait.
Like,
that makes sense.
And then like
leaning
Bertram walks up
into
and he
his
goes,
surname.
"You're
Yeah.
gold." And then Bertram turns to gold and dies.
Oh.
That'd be fucked up.
That would be
Oh,
fucked
man.
up.
I was
man,
really
I
hoping
can't
he
wait.
would say like, "Hey, you shit your pants," and then all of a sudden that happens.
He hasn't figured it out yet, Chris. Like, we're getting there.
If that doesn't happen in this book, I'm gonna be so sorely disappointed.
He'd be like,
I'm so excited for you guys to read the rest of this book. I'm so
Oh my
excited.
God.
do you remember what happens?
Yes.
Oh,
It's
God.
insane.
Oh, my God.
There's like an existentially nightmarish thing that happens.
He didn't warn us at all.
Oh,
He
He
kind
just
of
said,
warned
"This book's
Jonathan.
crazy."
yeah.
He warned John. John didn't warn us.
Yes, true. This is
Not fair, Hugh.
incredible. I love it. Huey, thank you so much for recommending
Absolutely.
this book and for helping us kick it off. Wow, I cannot wait to read the rest of this shit. Oh,
Yeah.
I
It's
need
like
to try to
this-
write down what just happened.
Yeah.
Those YA books that never hit mainstream, but they did exist, and this is just like
This is perfect, yeah.
in the fringe of that kind of thing.
Well, no, this is
Yeah,
perfect
and,
because like we always do like Goosebumps and shit. And granted, the last Goosebumps we read was Night of the Living Dummy, and that,
That was great.
no pun intended, that slapped.
I was thinking the same thing in my head.
That shit was awesome, but like a lot of the Goosebumps have been real bad and real hard to get through.
Yeah. It's nice to have something totally new, a new IP.
A new IP and my new favorite author of children's books. Holy
I wonder if he has any other
Oh,
stuff.
wait, shit.
the other thing you recommended was him.
They're both him?
Yeah,
Okay,
they're both him.
That is solid gold.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Midas
pun
gold.
intended.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Wait, what chapter did we end on?
The last one.
Jesus Christ. We ended on chapter 4. Thank
We
you.
read chapter 4?
Yeah,
We, need to,
we
okay, need to
did
start
chapters 1 through 4. Thank you for keeping track.
Okay.
That
Oh my god, that was incredible.
was so good.
Poetically written.
Oh, man.
Batshit
hard-
crazy.
Hard to ad-lib
Amazing names. No need for
Oh
ad
my God.
libbing.
Absolute, like, very little need for ad-libbing. Just
Man.
comments and tangents.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's. Dude. So excited.
Holy
this is
shit.
a wild ride.
I cannot wait to read the rest of this book. This is gonna get so weird. Why? Okay, don't tell me, but like, I hope we find out why those classes were at the top of a mountain.
Well,
That doesn't make any sense.
it felt like a very Indiana Jones thing of like the light has
Mm-hmm.
to hit a certain thing at a certain time of day to illuminate the devil's chair.
Yeah.
But then the glasses were just on top of the peak.
Maybe it made glasses because maybe it was
Maybe
like,
it made glasses.
but like maybe it's like, okay, so Kevin was there. What's the one thing he needs? Glasses.
Yeah.
Because his glasses were crushed by a
in a
bully.
way that makes sense to his early 90s brain.
So yeah, so
It's
like
magic, so it's culturally relevant glasses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Whoever's up there at that one time, twice a year,
They get whatever thing they need.
they get the thing that they need. So if you're like a fisherman and like you lost your pole, you
climb a mountain
you climb a mountain, you're like,
where there's a lot of fish.
Yeah.
but well, there's
They got
not
those
glasses
cool
up a
bull
mountain
heads.
either, Chris. I'm just saying it
Only on
gives-
September 21st.
You're
I'm
the
just
one
saying-
that said fisherman.
I'm saying it gives you what you need. So if you're a fisherman who lost his pole and you happen to climb that mountain at the equinox, you'll be like, "Oh shit, there's a badass new pole here. It's really badass. It's like
and then,
chrome."
And then you would immediately ask yourself, why is this at the top of a mountain?
Yeah.
And it grants
Where there are
wishes.
no
But
fish.
then you take the pole and then you can like you can fish into the air and then get like a bullet. Don't act like I'm
Oh my
crazy.
God.
The book is crazy.
The book is crazy. Okay, I do feel crazy though after reading that.
Yeah.
Huey,
It's
thank you
what
so
we aim
much
for.
for this. This is a gift.
I'm so glad to share it with. I mean, seriously, I've had no one to talk about this book with for my whole life, and now suddenly,
Now you
mean-
got three. You got three people.
it's like 300% more people now have read this book than previous.
Not only will you have us to talk about this book with, but also whatever poor people we manage to get into reading the rest of this book, which will be
That's true.
I don't know,
Ah.
2 other people and John Walker.
Yeah.
John Walker always closes.
Huey, do you want any? Do you have anything to plug for people listening?
I'd like to plug my cat Ripley. She's very cute, but she also
Good name.
Very good name.
yeah, right. She's, and that's all I got. I'm just kind of a bland McBlander right now.
I'm
so.
glad she has a new place, like a fancy new place to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I feel
She
like I'm
deserves
really
it.
making all of her dreams come true.
Yeah, that's nice.
Kind of like a cottage style, and she was a barn cat, so.
Aw, that's cute.
I love that. If you like this, you should listen to the rest of Below Grade Level, which is available anywhere you can find podcasts. And while you're at it, why don't you subscribe to us or follow us or whatever. Find us on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And listen to our other shows, The Sketchy Show.
I'm on that one.
That Chris is on. And upcoming next month debuting is a new show called Casting Dreams, where me and my friend Patrick talk about the Sega Dreamcast.
Ooh.
And yeah, Huey, if you have Dreamcast memories, maybe I can get you on that show too.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. CactusRodeo.com, CactusRodeo.com/podcast. Check us out. Check out all of our shit. Chris, anything to add?
The only thing I have to plug other than this is the Sketchy Show, and you took that away from me.
Sure did. I sure did. I liked
But I'm
doing
on that
it.
too, and you should really check it out if you like any of the hijinks I pulled on this, or any of the hijinks Jonathan pulled on this. if that's like your flavor of fun, check it out.
Bekah's on it sometimes too. Sometimes, occasionally,
And crushes it.
Thank you for
I
listening.
think you ran out of my legacy content.
Oh,
though.
I definitely did. Yeah, definitely did run out of it. Find out what happens next time on the Eyes of Kid Midas. I had to say it slowly because I really want to say King.
Yes.
Eyes of Kid Midas. Find out what happens next time on Below Grade Level. Thank you for listening. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Below Grade Level is a Cactus Radio production. You can contact us at podcast@cactusrodeo.com. Subscribe and follow on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify, and follow Cactus Rodeo on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more entertainment and updates.